Good afternoon. I hope you all had a really nice week. So, for the upcoming week, the week of December 28th to January 4th, 2026, I once again pulled one rune and a three-card tarot spread for the situation, advice, and the outcome. The rune that I pulled was Othila reversed. This is a rune that asks us in reverse not to be bound by old conditioning, to allow the light within you to guide you and to let go of your idea of what belonging means to you, to let go of your idea of what home means, to release the things that keep you locked into that idea, family expectations, outdated beliefs, um, and an identity or role that no longer fits. It basically asks us to clear space for what's to come, which is often what runes ask us to do, just in different ways and addressing different aspects of life when we pull them. So you may be feeling a sense of displacement this week, uh, not to make you feel isolated, but to show you where you truly belong. Boundaries may be blurred this week, showing you how to take responsibility for what's yours and to stop carrying what is not. Social scripts and generational chains, those big ones, may be broken this week in some small or large way. And the thing that's really required this week from you is total honesty, which seems like an obvious, right? Live our lives by honesty, but sometimes honesty is hard, even for those of us who think that we are completely honest all the time. We aren't always honest, even when we think we are. So it's required. Try to be really cognizant of whether you are being honest this week, because without it, clarity is impossible. And without clarity, you can cause pain to others as well as damage to yourself. So you'll be called to adapt this week and to wait because we do without doing and everything gets done. So as I thought about this, I meditated and just breathed and really considered what this rune could mean for us. Interestingly, I saw the beast in the Bible. I believe it's Revelations that arises from the ocean with seven heads and 10 horns. And it's this horrible beast that is a harbinger of Armageddon and death. But interestingly, when I saw it, rather than being this frightening and terrible portent of Armageddon, this beast became harmless, became almost feeble, powerful in the hideousness of its beauty, but not a harbinger of loss, but rather a harbinger of what's possible. Um, and to me, considering the opposition of what this beast is really supposed to stand for, this means that we may discover a new way of looking at the world, that things that are scary to us normally might become comforting. So, for instance, taking chances in life. This is materially to consider for yourself this week. Taking chances like going on a date for the first time, if that's something that's very uncomfortable to you, or speaking in public, that kind of thing. And the things that were once comforting, like a relationship that may have run its course, or an establishment like a restaurant or a club or someplace like that that no longer holds appeal, those things become outdated. So it's almost like the reverse of comfort in our lives this week. And you're being asked to embrace these changes, and they could extend to larger aspects of our culture as well. Certain divides, for instance, the Democrat and Republican divide in the US, could begin to merge, maybe, when we recognize that we were finding comfort in those divisions, but that comfort came at a cost. And so maybe we'll begin to learn to work together this week in places where we once saw no light. So materially, again, avoiding rushing into things because they feel familiar and stable, and allow yourself to wait in the unknown, to Swim in that ocean of uncertainty and trust that you will rise to the surface. So for the tarot spread that I pulled, now first I'll talk about the situation, the King of Cups. Maturity seems to be rising to the surface this week for the collective, taking responsibility for our actions. Once again, very, very familiar to what we just heard about Othila reversed. Having deep insights and revelations about what things might mean for the long term. Taking emotional leadership, not lashing out, but rather stepping away when things become heated. So it feels like the collective is experiencing a resurgence of hope this week. That's what I get from this card and from this being the situation. And that with that hope is an extension of benevolence to those that we call our leaders across the globe. So perhaps with the flame of love, peace can begin to emerge from the ashes of what we've done to one another over the ages, over the centuries. So I saw a dove rising out of the sunset. And then again, that same dove rising out of the sunrise. Peace reigning over the land. This is what we have for a situation this week. Not bad. So, materially, perhaps a new sense of understanding will pervade your relationships. Perhaps your anger at certain situations will transform into compassion. Perhaps a job that seemed intolerable will suddenly become just what it is, a source of income and nothing else, nothing to hang your hat on, but nothing to run from either. Perhaps blame will no longer sustain you and forgiveness will. So that kind of shift may be your experience this week and the situation that we're all surrounded by. Now, for the advice position, I pulled the Six of Cups, a really beautiful card to complement the King of Cups. So, what you're being asked with the Six of Cups is to remember the things that bring you comfort this week, the things that make you feel safe and inspired. Perhaps that means reaching out to someone from the past or returning to something that makes you feel innocent and nostalgic. And as I contemplated this card and breathed, I saw an old ship on the ocean from the 1600s, from long ago, carrying hopeful passengers. And that doesn't mean the Mayflower, just a general kind of symbolic ship carrying hopeful passengers across to a new life, newness, and the safety of those that they love, going home, but also leaving home. And this feels like we're being advised to step into a new way of being this week, but to do it with innocence and with love and with hope, to avoid looking at the changes to come with bitterness, but rather with curiosity. And materially, I think you're being advised to be soft and humble this week, to accept help, offer safety, give to the homeless or to anyone who might be in need, and expect nothing in return, not even a smile. Express love to those who haven't received it from you in a while. And this openness and innocence accompanies the King of Cups. The Six of Cups is like the doorway leading to the maturity of the King. Walk through it. So for the final card in the spread, for the outcome card, I pulled the Five of Swords. And this can feel like an uncomfortable card to pull after the King and Six of Cups. And it is. And I think that the lesson of the week, perhaps the point of the week, is a tough one. It's that even in the choosing of love and peace, the outcome might still hurt. The outcome might not be what we hoped to achieve. But what we want, of course, is not always what we need. And sometimes we have to sacrifice in order to move things forward. We need to sacrifice the need to win. We need to sacrifice the need to be right. We need to allow ourselves to come last. And in so doing, in doing nothing, in fact, just as Othila told us, we will have done everything. And interestingly, as I meditated on this, I saw Joan of Arc, a warrior, right? Someone who killed and who really believed in her own righteousness shining on a hill is how I saw her, a golden, shining Joan of Arc, a woman who was believed to talk to God and who fought for the safety and the protection of her people, but who in the end died at the stake. And I also saw the crucifixion. I saw the sacrifice in that, the sacrifice of showing how forgiveness is possible even in the most extreme of circumstances. That there is loss, yes, but there is also immense gain, long-term gain that you may not see, but that you played a role in building. And I think it's important to remember that this week, to remember that perhaps we won't see the incredible possibility of humanity and what we are destined to become in the process of our ascension. We might not see that in this body and in these lives, but we are working toward it. We are building toward it. And that's the point. And so continue to live in the maturity of the King of Cups and the innocence of the Six of Cups so that we can bring through all that we dream of and all that we hope for, even if we don't see it in our lifetime. So materially, this could reflect in the sacrifice of some hoped for thing that you have that does not come to pass, but in the loss of that thing, you will see your own shining light as you let it go. So maybe a relationship, maybe an apology, maybe that used car that you bid on and lost. But just remember, you let go of the relationship and doors open for both of you. You let go of the need for the apology and you erased some of the limitations you'd set around what was necessary for forgiveness. And you lose the car, but someone else now has a way to visit their dying mother in the hospital. What a gift. So, in summary, we're being asked to let go as individuals and as a society of outdated beliefs. We're being reminded to take responsibility for the self, to show patience and benevolence in the face of challenge, to embrace comfort and historic inspiration, but to acknowledge that our idea of that comfort and that inspiration might be totally different now, and to adapt to that. And to do all of this knowing that we still might not get what we think we want. And that's okay. Have a lovely week.